you all?
Good.
Good.
Christine, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Liz.
Yes, how are you doing?
Good. I've got one eye that's just been fixed and the other hasn't, so I'm kind of doing this, you know?
Good.
Can I take a picture here?
Sure.
I just wanna ask whether we're at the right place.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, if you're gonna take the picture now, let me get out of it.
I can avoid, I can just go this angle, just ask them whether we're at.
Oh, are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, you're not in it, but thank you.
Yeah, between having metal in my hip, which now shows up every time I go through an x-ray, and having had one eye fixed for
So,
cataract. This is the eye that's been done. So it's slightly kind of red.
yeah, I can see that.
If I do this, everything is bright. And if I do this, everything's kind of like, oh, it's really dull.
So, when they work together, you kind of have to use one, right?
Well, it's halfway between the two when I use both eyes. So, yeah, it's interesting. Just sit on the end here. But I'm hoping that once the other one's done, I'll be able to see much better.
What, do you have a schedule?
Yeah, the middle of March.
No, not far.
Not far. Just in time to be able to see straight through the pan.
Oh, yeah, right?
Let me ask you something. We've had a hell of a row about Indians, because Peter Pan has Indians in it. Oh, we can't do that, that's disrespectful to Native Americans. So after a lot of arguing, talking to Native American studies at the university, we said, okay, fine, we won't dress them as Indians. We'll call them mountaineers. I thought everything was settled, and then all hell broke out. Why are you doing this? So now, I'm also hearing from the same people who wanted to change it from Indians, and we can't do Chinese anymore. I said, why not?
Hi.
Well, these companies are, anyway, nobody knows. A lot of.
I'm gonna make let me get in there. Like one of the public comments.
Yep.
Do I have to notify anyone?
If you wanna sign there, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yes.
Chinese in that.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Very exaggerated.
Thank you for sending that
Yeah.
transition plan.
Some people.
Oh, you're welcome. Holly actually had it.
It's just good.
Yeah. But I think it has a lot of the information that you need.
Yes. Yeah. It looks like they did a very thorough job.
Yeah.
I know it was done and was in place.
Yeah.
In our council chambers, we have those notices posted or used to, I'm sure they're down now.
Choreography, changes from time to time, but sometimes it's very kind of like a caricature of
Are we done?
Chinese.
No, I'm not watching you to see where you're setting up either.
You should be. I
Oh,
can't be
always
trusted.
well, I can always do that later. I'll wait till you get set up.
It's just it's fun too. But it's
You might be out of your hair relatively soon. Maybe another month.
I'm hoping not.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that.
Are you gonna?
I'm hoping that my hair goes that way.
You gonna, are you planning to?
That's my plan, but it's only this half of it. I have to wait for
Well,
that
it's
half.
important, it's important to have both halves agree.
Yeah,
But that's great.
yes. See, the problem is, they've just been getting someone in there like, $10, $11 an hour, and I can't come down from Preston County and do that.
Well, it's,
And I can see, and I can see the other
It's an
side of it,
important
and I can see the other side of it too. They don't wanna pay me, I'm sure, $150 a meeting either.
is that what it is?
Uh-huh. Which the only reason they're doing that is because they didn't have anywhere else to go.
Well, it's not. Some places, just not places that you could actually
Right.
set up audio visual recording.
Right. Well, see, the, MPO meetings have been over at the school board, which I also did.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
They have a nice, nice spot in that new building.
Mhm.
I haven't actually been to a meeting over there yet, but I saw it when I was in there.
I don't care for the front lights.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're so close to the back, see how those are out in front?
Yeah.
They've got the full-size ones and they're like this far off the wall, so it almost puts a darkness in front of them, but then when I crank it up, it looks like there's two headlights on the wall. It brightens up, and you can just barely see it, but by the time I crank the iris on the camera from behind, it just makes two headlights.
Put them in the theater.
Yeah, they need to.
How'd you get started doing it?
Huh?
How'd you get started doing it?
Doing this, a long time ago, when this was over there, a friend of mine started doing it. He was doing it for free at first, because they said, there's no way we're paying to have that done. And after a while, they're like, yeah, we wanna pay to have this done. So I was running the audio only. And then when we came over here, me and another guy were doing the video. Of course, they said, well, how do you like this setup? How do you like that setup? It's like, well, we'd like to have a little more room in the back, and so you don't need any more room in the back. So it's basically that, you saw it's that wide. Man, we couldn't get a couch in there, we couldn't get anything in there, so. And the superintendent of the schools came over here, and Mike was talking to him about doing it.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we'd like to do that, and so he eventually called a meeting, he's like, when we move over, yeah. And then a friend of mine did he became the consultant, and was also applied to be your all's consultant, but he didn't price himself out of it.
Yeah.
And he works with me during ball games and all kinds of stuff.
Hello.
I can do it for you, whatever you want.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, good, how are you?
Good.
I don't think we got this into the agenda. This is basically like a fact sheet.
Is that supposed to be for the packet? Yeah.
Yeah, on the packet. And so I was gonna pass this around.
Sure, thank you very much. You have enough for?
I'll give you the 11 o'clock.
How are you? How are you?
My son, Zane. Good to see you.
Thank you for your call.
I know it's late.
They're just not having it. They're having a horse inside. Thank you. I kept the seat open as long as I could. People wanted to rent it out, and I said, no. My good friend Kim's gonna be out here, and he'll be mad if you take his seat, and let the seat back. Me, and I said, that's not.
Yeah, you would find money for this seat.
Oh, yeah.
We have one council
It's up
member,
to 75 cents.
Zoom.
Okay.
So I can scan it and send it to her.
I can also email it to you.
If you can email it to me and then I'll forward it right away, if you can do that. Can you do that?
Concerned that none of my emails beyond 5:35 this evening are showing up.
Maybe everybody just stopped at
At the end of the
No, I mean like, I'm sorry, everything before 5:35.
Just put that in the past.
How have you been? We never see you anymore.
Something, I was gonna ask you.
Okay.
I just put back on my calendar the review of the DSP.
There wasn't anything.
This is the thing that we passed.
Thank you so much.
Remember what that is exactly. I'll let you know if I figure it out.
True, thank you, appreciate it.
And one for you.
Thanks. I always love when people bring up their.
I can get left out down here, the kids
At 5 p.m. I just got a call from because I was trying to, get from Amy and like,
Drew, are you,
please give us the.
this is for tonight, correct?
They told us they were
For the
very
raise
much-
grant.
At the very end of the agenda.
Professionals also adding for the cross viewing on the prairie.
Yeah, imagining how that going.
And I was like, okay, but I need the actual, schematic, because the reason why I was able to do that for the, for the external lot to do, the drop-off loop. Yeah, that, because Alpha didn't have that, because they have, the plans for their lot. The platform, yeah. But I told them this is gonna be something, that's gonna be something to draw on a city road, that would be something that you guys have, if you have the plan, I can ask Alpha, see if they can.
Yeah, there's only a few things on there.
There's schematic again on there.
Yeah, you should be too.
Never an end.
They're never, and
Right.
that's my issue, like, we
You
keep
know,
on.
I just apologize.
Plainly, it's gonna go
There's something I could do.
Thank you. There we go. Now we're ready. Oh, good. Okay. There's the slide. Calling this meeting to order. This is the City Council regular meeting. We're in Mon County Commission Chambers at 243 High Street. It's Tuesday, February 20th, 2024, and it is, let's see, about 7:20. We're calling the meeting to order and asking the clerk if she would please call the roll.
Yes. Deputy Mayor Buganim,
Present.
Bill Koecki,
Here.
Wheezy Michael,
Here.
Danielle Trumbull,
Here.
Dave Harshbarger,
Here.
Brian Butcher,
Here.
Mayor Celine.
Here. Now we're going to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we're working on approval of the minutes. There is set from February 6, 2024 special meeting minutes and February 6, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Approved acclamation? Yep. Okay. Correspondence. We have something exciting today. We are declaring it the year of the dragon. So, if you would stand up and you would introduce yourself. All of you? Yes. If you would come to the podium, I'm going to come join you. Yeah, so if you would introduce yourself,
Okay.
introduce your
Okay, my friend.
your group.
Okay, my group. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ray Leong, and from West Virginia University. I'm a research professor in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, and also running the NSF Center. And let me introduce our friend first. And this is the president of the Morgantown American Chinese Community, Professor Du, Jianhai Du, and our another team member, Nana Zhou, and we are. And Liz is our bridge between Sister Morgantown and the Shizhou Sistership Program. So she's running the exhibit in our ballpark community center in Wales Hill Center. So we are all here today.
Perfect. I guess I'm figuring out how to, we'll do this way today. All right, why don't we all group up here? I'm going to read it and present it, and then you all can make a few remarks. So this is our proclamation. Whereas the city of Morgantown joins our neighbors and residents in celebrating the Year of the Dragon, characterized by strength, determination, resilience, symbolizing boldness and courage. Whereas the Lunar New Year is a time of tradition, reflection, and celebration as we embrace the Year of the Dragon across our city. And whereas this year is marked by customs and festivities in Morgantown, such as the New Year Gala, organized by the Chinese American community in our town. We are honored to partake in these festive customs and appreciate your contribution to our community and to our country. And whereas this year is marked, whereas we appreciate our sister city, say it for me.
Shuzhou.
Shuzhou. We need to work on our pronunciation so we can honor these things correctly. And the exquisite Han Dynasty exhibit, rubbings taken from stone carvings over 2,000 years old. You can experience it at the Debbie Palmer Gallery in the Bow Park Wiles Hill Community Center. And we found out the end date through February 29th. So there's still time. Whereas the city of Morgantown celebrates the time-honored celebrations and festivities of Lunar New Year as we enter the Year of the Dragon together as family, friends, and community. Now, therefore, I, Jenny Celine, the mayor of Morgantown, West Virginia, do with this proclaim 2024 as the Year of the Dragon in the city of Morgantown. Let us celebrate this great Asian tradition by embracing the spirit of diversity, peace, and prosperity as we look forward to a great 2024.
Cheers.
So,
That's great.
yes, we did well. We did well. So I'd like to hand this to you. And then I can make some for the sister cities, make one for the Sister Cities Commission as well. Yes, so what I'd like is if City Council would come down and we get a picture with everybody over here on this wall, if that works.
Thank you.
How nice of you.
Yeah. Yeah, just sort of wheel me down, please.
Wow, I think it's a historical moment.
Historical. We thought it was fun. That was a great, good request. So let's get, okay, you get it back. Perfect.
And I can lean against the wall.
Okay. You didn't hear everybody?
You get everybody?
Okay.
Well, we
Yeah.
didn't want anyone living.
Yeah, and so
bad.
Joe Beganim is gonna, as the deputy, gonna come and make a nice, presentation at the event at Christian Missionary Alliance Church.
Okay, everyone look here. Say dragon.
Dragon.
Okay, hold on, I gotta get some more.
Can you get everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We've got the zoom out feature now. Alright. Do you want one on the phone with
Oh,
me?
yeah. Thank you very much.
Alright.
Yeah, of course.
Alright.
Oh, we should have done it on that side, then we could have gotten her in there.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you guys so much.
Congratulations.
And so
Thank you.
you,
I mean,
if you'd like to, make a few remarks and tell us about your event.
yeah,
All
thank
right,
you.
thank you.
Okay, very excited, really excited because as a American Chinese in town for 25 years, so this is is historic. It's a very exciting moment for me. As I said, I'm a research professor in a university, and back to 25 years ago, the university recruited me from University of Cambridge, England, as an international well-known scholar to join the Department Energy program in terms of electronic polymer composites. So since then, I never moved. So I've been here for 25 years. So I've witnessed the growth and development of whole Morgantown, our city. So it's really, Morgantown is my hometown, really, truly. I raised my 3 kids here, and the elder daughter, Lisa, was highlighted as one of the most influential in 2010 in the Dominion Post. So now she's a physician in Houston. And my second daughter, Selena, now is a sophomore in the University of Pennsylvania. And my boy is still in 9th grade in Morgantown High. So you see, this is where I belong to. And very excited. So thank you so much. What I say? And of course, all of our whole family, and I became a naturalized citizen back to 2007. So since that, every time I vote and I participate. And okay, I'm here really representing this vice president of Morgantown Chinese American Association, vice president for 4 years. But after that, I always stayed as a member of the volunteering team, do something I can contribute. But today I'm here representing another national organization, United Chinese American. So this is a national national federation of the all 50 states, including DC as well. And what we do, we promote, encourage our community members to vote, to participate, to create a civic life. Because as a Chinese, we are coming from mainland China. In over there, we don't have a part of life which you call, we have family life, we have professional life, but we don't have a civic life. That's kind of what we are here today. So I'm trying, the UCA, United Chinese American, is to empower Chinese American by doing civic engagement, political participation, and the youth development, and also heritage promotion, as we are doing today, as a recognition of Chinese culture and history. And also we do promote the U.S.-China people's interaction. That's our Lisa is doing today. And so since after joining, become a citizen, every year feel unknown well, and we always encourage our voters in our community to participate citywide, statewide, and nationwide election. So this is part of we get engaged, but it's still a long way to go. I know this is we need a transformation in our community. That's why I'm trying very hard on this. And we also do voluntarily serve our less fortunate group, like we donate the food and do the red packet during the Chinese New Year to our shelter, homeless people in town. And donate the food and donate the cash as well, this type of things. And today I really thank the mayor, Jennifer Selling, and also the whole entire city council member to recognize the value and the significance of the Lunar New Year. Because to us, that's Lunar New Year in our community is the most celebrated event, like our Christmas, yeah. And so this brings lots of value to us. So this really highlights the inclusiveness and the diversity in our town, in our city. So make us feel family, part of the city. So thank you all. So I'd like to our president to introduce about the program in 2 minutes, 1 minute.
2 minutes.
Thank you all. Thank you.
I try to make it short. Thank you so much. I represent our Chinese community here. I'm show our appreciation for all the people to make this possible. I will share the news. And so we have this Chinese New Year celebration tradition for more than 20 years. And every year, even at COVID time, we did some in virtual time, but it's bring happiness, diversity, especially for young kids, like my son, my daughters, they're born here. I hope they will learn more about the Chinese culture as well. So the New Year this year is 25th. That is next Sunday in the CMA Church. So I hope you all will attend this event. And we will be, last year I think we have 300 people. And about 1/3 of them are Morgantown locals. So Chinese New Year is not just Chinese, actually also Lunar New Year, celebrated by many other countries, about 8 countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam. In my lab, I have students from Vietnam. So I told him today I will come here. He feels very excited about that because in their country they also celebrate this New Year as well. So thank you all, and I hope you all have a great 2024 Chinese Year of Dragon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
So, you're welcome. You have the best smile. It's infectious. It makes other people smile, I think. Yeah, so our council has been involved with coming to Chinese New Year celebrations for years and years and years and years. So anyone who would like to go, please attend. So now we are to public hearings. So this is public hearing on an ordinance. This is an opportunity for people to speak just on this one item, an ordinance designating the Norwood Fire Station as a safe surrender site to accept custody of children who are 30 days old or younger. And we're going to open this public hearing. If somebody is wishing to speak about this. And we're going to shut this particular public hearing down. We're going to move to unfinished business. Item A, consideration of approval of a second reading of an ordinance designating the Norwood Fire Station as a safe surrender site to accept custody of children who are 30 days old or younger. The first reading was February 6th, 2024. And if our assistant manager, Emily Massarelli, would like to speak a little bit on this subject, that would be helpful.
Absolutely. So council has received updates at the committee of the whole in the February 6th meeting, but essentially what is in front of you for consideration today would be designating the Norwood Fire Station as a safe surrender site for infants. This is a change at the state legislature that would allow for a premises of emergency personnel that's staffed 24/7 to be a safe surrender site. So as part of the renovations, we have installed a newborn safe surrender device into the building. It's accessible both from the outside and the inside, and essentially is monitored and sets off alarms that would allow for if a parent needed to drop off a child that was less than 30 days old and was unable to care for it, just gives an option for parents and a safe place for that child to go. So happy to answer any specific questions that you may have. I know we've talked quite a bit about this, so.
Move to approve. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
I can't remember, when is it supposed to go into effect?
So as the ordinance is written right now, I believe it is March, the end of March, the 29th, I believe.
That's great.
Yes, March 29th.
Thanks.
If for any reason that is not staffed by then, which I don't anticipate, we would essentially put a hold on that until it is
A little
able
note
to
on
be
the
staffed.
outside to come later.
It is currently blocked right now. You can't actually access it right now.
Good.
There's a testing procedure that we go through with the maker of the device.
Okay.
We got some time.
Any other questions and concerns? If you please call the roll.
Yes. Deputy Mayor Buchanan?
Yes.
Bill Kowicki?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Weezy, you're up. Oh, sorry. This is about the baby box. The safe
she's-
surrender site at the Norwood Fire Station.
Weezy's on mute.
Oh,
There we go.
Is it the vote? Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Celine?
Yes. Passes unanimously. On to boards and commissions. I don't believe we have any to appoint at this time. And then we're on to the public portion, which shall be subject to rules established by council and adopted by resolution. So if anyone is wishing to speak, you would come to the podium and you would state your name and where you live, and then watch the little lights for guidance on how long you can speak.
Did you get the list, Mayor?
Pardon?
Did you get the list?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so my name is Abdul Tarabishi. I'm a professor at WVU in neuroradiology.
Theater.
Oh, she's watching.
There we go.
Oh, okay, apologize. All right, so I live in Evansdale, 911 Dudley Street, and I'm here representing Wisdom Academy, which is a plan to be a charter school at the building that we purchased from the Mount County Board of Education on 13 South High Street, and I'm here basically to discuss again, like we've been through the planning commission, and we're having we want to address some of the concerns that we were having with the Planning Commission regarding the traffic. One of Ms. Trumbull's on the Planning Commission, and one of the last comment was basically that if we operate a building over there that would cause, like, even if we have the drop-off loop inside the property, the combined property, us and Alpha Engineering, that the concern was that they would be queuing on the street. So we came with a resolution. I discussed it with the city planner, Mr. Yeager, and also discussed it with our city manager, Mr. Haas.
About the baby box.
Meet her again.
Okay, and basically what we come up with a solution that we're gonna we're gonna arrange for all the queuing, so nobody would be allowed to come from High Street. That would come from the back end, that as the high school has their egress. So we won't be like, no queuing of cars going to be in anybody's driveways. That's like on the one-way portion of Prairie Street, which we're planning to present on the March 14th Planning Commission meeting. Our proposal. So we're just hoping that with this, I would like to see and get the support from both from the City Council, from the Planning Commission, that we're really working our best to make sure that we have a positive impact on the community, and not have any of the concerns for traffic. We're also planning on presenting some from a mutual colleague of our colleague here. He's a professor at WVU. In his previous position at University of Idaho, he has a colleague who's a head of a traffic center. He's going to present us with more data. And also the other main concern was also if the traffic generated by our school, if it's going to overlap with the traffic from the Morgantown High. We're planning on a 1 hour, at least 1 hour of shift. So we start 1 hour later and we end 1 hour later. So make sure that our traffic doesn't become additive or overlap with the Morgantown High traffic. I have less than a minute, so I'm gonna just give my time up. Is it okay if my colleague can present some additional common?
Different person can speak.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay,
Same
thank you.
topic.
So I think I heard the comment about the baby box. Is there a room for a quick comment about the baby box as well?
Yep, you can use your time however you like.
Great. So I think
You just would give your name and
Sure. My
where
name
you
is
live.
Mohammed Hafeda, and I live in Meadow Ridge Townhomes.
Yeah.
I think someone said the word safer, that baby box is safer or safe enough for a little baby that is 30 days, 30 days or younger, I believe. And the word safer here relates to than blank. And I'd like to draw the contrast here. I know there are parents that are not able to take care of their kids. They leave them on the streets, dumpsters, all sorts of stories. So the word safer here is kind of relevant to something that is worse. And I'd like to draw this parallel with the current existing situation with Morgantown High. Morgantown High has 1,890 students. So add to those about 200 staff members. We're talking about roughly 2,200 people moving through the intersection of High Street and Prairie. And so that is clearly a much, much bigger impact on that intersection as far as safety. Looking at my records, doing some research, in the past 10 years at least, there has not been a single safety concern, at least publicly, from the Planning Commission in regards to that very intersection at Prairie and High Street. I dropped my son off, I dropped my daughter off, it's a disaster in the morning. I could record all sorts of videos between people frustrated getting out of that intersection, between the number of people getting through. There's no crosswalk. Again, no safety concerns raised over the past 10 years at least. Yet when the application was presented to the Planning Commission, there's a very different narrative that was brought up, which is a safety concern. Looking at the max capacity of that school, projected school that is, with less than 248 students, max capacity of the entire building is 300. They cannot use it for students. So if I look at just the sheer number of, just the absolute numbers of 300 compared to 2,300, there's a question mark there. A question mark about the safety concern. So is there more to it than a safety concern? That's the first question I'd like you guys to please look into a little deeper, because there seems to be some biases that we may not be aware of. If I just look at the numbers, 2,300, I give this to my 5-year-old, he'll tell me that will generate more traffic than 300. Not only this, we avoided the high school altogether. We're making sure we're not adding to the traffic. We're making sure that everything in the application, everything that was requested from the Planning Commission was presented to. Everything they asked on the first meeting was presented to. Yet they came up with more stuff on the second meeting. So it looks like there's this interesting, it's very important to me to understand what the basis is. So again, back to the very idea of safety. If the high school exists, that's literally the elephant in the room. And then we come to this little baby dropping off a few kids at the intersection, trying to make sure everything is done by the book. Again, if it were in a vacuum, I completely understand it, but it's not in a vacuum. Morgantown High has that traffic. And please correct me if I'm wrong. Like I said, there's no complaint on record that I'm aware of raising safety concerns. So that I'd really like you guys to look into this a little deeper, figure out if there's more to it than the safety concern, figure out if this is actually the Planning Commission, if the DOH or the highway people are saying, okay, we're okay with this. There's never been a crosswalk. The students park across the street. I mean, I can provide you all sorts of things. I'm sure all of you are aware of the traffic mess from 7 to 7:30 every single day on a weekday. In addition to that, that's a darker time. Right now, that time is getting, days are getting a little shorter now, but, during winter times, this is a very, very dark time. So on top of that dark, plus the traffic itself, I don't really see where the traffic safety concern with 300 versus 2,300 that currently exist. So I'd like you please to take a closer look at this. Maybe there are things that are hidden that we're not aware of, and maybe making us aware of, or making those people applying aware of those so that they can actually address what the real underlying matter is, I think is really important, so that they can actually, give you what you're looking for. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? All right, I'm assuming not. We're going to close the public portion. Now we're going to move on to new business. And we're looking at consideration of approval of a resolution authorizing application for a RAISE grant. And if Drew Gatlin would please come to the podium, yes?
Hello.
Tell us about it.
you.
Thank you.
So much for the time, the opportunity to present to you this incredibly ambitious proposal, which may actually help to solve some of these folks' issues and alleviate some of your concerns, but not in a super rapid format. What you have before you right here is a 2-pager executive summary of a 20-some-odd page application that we've been putting together over the past month with one of our consultants. That is a grant application for a new federal transportation funding program called RAISE, which is reinvesting, or pardon me, I will I forget exactly what it is, but it's a lovely federal acronym. Anyhow, you may recall that the Greenbag Road corridor received a similar grant for planning and design for its essentially looking at potentially diverting trucks down it, and then also, perhaps designing roundabouts and looking into the feasibility of a shared use path. Our application is for double the amount of money, but still also just for planning and design. We think that certainly there's time that has passed between their application and ours, so inflation and everything. But this project is also committing to a separated facility for bicyclists and pedestrians, additional facilities for other types of multimodal traffic, bus facilities, as well as upgrading the travel lanes on Dorsey Avenue to be more appropriate for the types of traffic that's on there and the level of traffic that exists on there, which is about 5,000 vehicles per day, which is significantly more than most streets that the city maintains. So really excellent package that we are putting together as we've been putting this application together. Like our EPA grants that we've submitted recently, we find this to be just very competitive. We're checking all the boxes. We even check the boxes that do not require us to make a match in this. Typically, we would be required to do a 20% match here. We're still going back and forth. We believe that fiscally we could make the match. This is a long type of a project. We could split that over several years. We could potentially make the match if needed, but we do qualify for an exemption if we so request it. So anyway, just looking for your authorization to allow our city manager and us to put this application in. We would be finalizing it over the next week and submitting it next Wednesday. Well, probably next Tuesday. Got to give a day for, buffer there. So I'd be happy to take any questions. Yeah. About the application. Yes.
Why Dorsey?
Yes. Why Dorsey? And I should say also Dorsey, it's not just Dorsey Avenue, but also South High Street and essentially connecting Greenbag Road all the way to downtown. So a little bit more background. The Greenbag Road grant, that RAISE grant that I talked to you all about that was successfully awarded to the NPO for the study of the redesign of Greenbag Road, also included the feasibility and potential design of a shared use path, side path essentially along that corridor for bikes, peds, and other non-motorized uses, right? We also have gotten notice that we may receive design monies for the First Ward connection down to the Caperton Trail near the old Waterfront Jeep area. And so we, with essentially these investments going in on all of the different sides of this corridor, we are anticipating even more issues beyond the ones that we have just heard about, being and more pressure being placed on this corridor to accommodate all of the different types of traffic that we have in town. So if you go through our application, which is not in front of you, but we've pulled out posts over the past decade from various Facebook groups and social media. You all are probably familiar with complaints from your constituents about the level of service on Dorsey Avenue, no matter how you're traveling, whether or not that's in a car, on a bus, or for many people, walking. We have a significant number of our low-income communities that live along this corridor, and we would, from a justice standpoint, from a sustainable and equity standpoint, investments over here, very important. So yeah, we have also noted that the DOH itself has collected traffic data, and we've backed that up, showing that average speeds there exceed 35 miles an hour. The posted speed limit is 25 miles an hour. I've spoken to you all about the much higher likelihood of pedestrian death when involved in crashes for every mile an hour, right, above 20 miles an hour. That risk increases exponentially to almost certain death at 40 miles an hour, right?
Yeah, good answer. It's a tricky corridor.
It is a very tricky
with
corridor.
a lot of complaints over the years, and a school, and people really use it in a lot of blind entrances and just sidewalks up above people's yards.
Truly, yeah.
It's
Crumbling
got a lot
walls,
going on.
poor stormwater infrastructure, poor, a lot of roadside hazards. One of the innovative things that we're going to be doing with this, and hopefully this will be an innovation for the city, would be looking at undergrounding our overhead utilities along this corridor.
Wow.
I know that you all have been asking about that, and I've
Yes.
quipped with some sarcasm in the past to that request, but $8 million in design and maybe 50 some odd million in construction, I think we could probably figure that out. And this corridor and Morgantown's future deserves this type of modern multimodal infrastructure, right? It's been underserved for a very long time, and we have had every single planning grant and planning document has revealed this corridor as containing a number of different needs for improvements, from bike boulevards and streetscapes on South High Street to that intersection that we just heard about. The Planning Commission may not have noted safety concerns at Prairie and High Street, but the engineering department and many other parts of the city, both from a policy and an administrative standpoint, have noted that intersection is substandard for its existing traffic load. So Dorsey Avenue, we've been trying to get a sidewalk built there through the TAC grant program for a long time. And I believe one of the reasons why we may have not been successful in those applications is the DOH looked at it once and said, this is underfunded. There's no way that you can get it done through this program. And so we've come back with $8 million for design only. Yeah, and we agree. It's a complicated project, but
That should do it.
yeah.
Who has other questions?
Just, could you speak to the ideal timeline if things flowed in the right way well for us?
Sure. We should hear back about this in the same timeline that we're going to hear back about our $2 million grant that we just put in for cleanup for the rest of White Park in May. So this May. So it's a very quick timeline for review. We'll know quickly. And then getting consultants and the design process underway. We already do have consultants that would meet the procurement requirements, right, for monies like this on staff. So we may be able to speed that up. But in terms of between now and construction and maybe ribbon cutting, an ideal timeline would be, an aggressive timeline would be seven years. 10 years would be more likely. Yeah. But we are still committed to the interim improvements that we've noted and presented to you previously, such as smaller changes at say, for example, the Wagner-Dorsey intersection. And we are still working to build alternative trail alignments through White Park that can help to serve some of these, this travel, but and improve the accessibility of some of those trails. But nothing's going to quite solve this problem without like a complete corridor upgrade. We also, one other thing that we're hoping to achieve here, you may be familiar with a lot of the complaints about traffic entering and traveling through South Park, right, from the Ross Street corridor and then all the way through the Grand Street corridor. We've really narrowed that down to partially just that intersection, that really complicated five-way intersection at the Circle K. This proposes to completely redesign that intersection to slow traffic down entering into that neighborhood. Right now, school buses can take it at speed at 45 plus miles an hour. The top speed that we have seen regularly, about 2 to 5% of the traffic on this corridor is over 50 miles an hour. So we do have people complaining about cars traveling 50 miles an hour in their neighborhoods. This is definitely a reality for people that live on Dorsey. And South High Street, of course, we do have, lots of needs there as well. You may be familiar with the truck traffic, right? Destroying the stop sign there. We are looking also with this at kind of reformalizing certain truck routes and working with the DOH to divert trucks away from the neighborhood in an intentional way before they even cross the bridge, the South High Street Bridge. So other questions?
Nice.
Yeah, just to follow up a little bit. This is comprehensive in terms of the major wish list. Assuming that we were to get it and we did the planning, could we then dissect this into smaller bites and perhaps accomplish these things more quickly, depending on priority?
Absolutely, we could. If we had, for example, a levy or something, right, ready to go, and did not seek, say, for example, this program to fund the construction, then the construction would potentially proceed faster if we had essentially unencumbered funds that didn't require certain types of procurement methodologies, right, and certain types of competitive grant application timelines. Definitely. We could also bite chunk by chunk and apply for different types of funding for this. We could search for TAP grants for this. If we do this through the RAISE program, though, it would be a very compelling story for the federal government to award us for construction dollars. And there is basically no limit to the amount of construction dollars that you could ask for a RAISE. Effectively, for a city like Morgantown, no limit for that. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Can I go?
Yes, we would like you to go.
Great. Drew, what's the blank page for? Are we supposed to write our own grant? Or?
Oh, yes. If you have any notes, need a doodle space. Apologize about that.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
It details in here that community engagement's part of that. Is that laid out in the grant how that's supposed to be conducted, or is that kind of up to us?
Yeah, the RAISE grant program has a lot of requirements, and it's not prescriptive in how you do that, but if you do not present and commit to essentially innovative public input and like comprehensive public input, then you will not win the grant. So
that was part of your narrative?
It is part of our project description and then the merit criteria, correct, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So I guess in the narrative, like what did that look like then? What were you envisioning for public engagement?
Fortunately, we have a lot of public engagement in this area that is about to begin and that we've started to do with White Park. So we will be able to learn some lessons through the EPA about what's effective and how do we actually reach out to this specific neighborhood, right? Of course, we have Joe and the First Ward Neighborhood Association, very established bodies. But there are more than 13,000 people that live in First Ward alone and in the census tract, and certainly many more that travel the corridor that don't even live in there. We are talking not only in the EPA grant for our public input, but also in this, literally going door to door and working with representatives of Marjorie Gardens and Bluegrass Village and certainly working with other neighborhood associations such as the SPAN Neighborhood Association, churches, right, anything, and then virtual, of course, and non-time sensitive, right, ways that you can give input and receive information that are not in meetings, right?
That's great, thank you. As far as the intersection that you talked about, next to Circle K, the Teresa Drive, and, I don't know, Ross Street, Dobb Street.
Yeah.
Do we have like a clear vision of how that gets fixed? And I guess my other question related to that is like, is there anything we can do in the meantime? One of the things that I've always noticed about that intersection is like, I think it's Teresa, right? Is the one that I'm not even sure if you can call it a street necessarily because it's like an extension of the parking lot all the way to the tree line. I didn't know, like, do you think that you're the engineer, so, but, do you think that might benefit from, I mean, even just painting through there to like better direct traffic, because I think it's a little bit of the Wild West. And I have seen a lot of those buses like blaze through Ross Street, like going up that hill, going straight, and it just seems, I mean, that's a different issue, but like as far as Teresa,
Absolutely.
is there any like small incremental improvements we could make there?
We can certainly look again at that. One of the complications that we've come up against is uncertain city boundaries over there.
Yeah.
And whether or not there is a public right-of-way that we can operate in along the edge of that parking lot. We haven't surveyed it. There may be, but there is some doubt at this point. This grant would not allow us, we can do everything except for purchase right-of-way with this $8 million, like everything right up to that. And then with the construction, we could then purchase right-of-way if needed. Certainly, I imagine an annexation there may not be too difficult for just a little bit of space. Famous last words. But yes, you know, I certainly have a clear idea about how that intersection could be changed, but I will not jump in front of the public input process that we have committed to.
And then, yeah, the other big issue I've always heard on Dorsey is just sidewalks.
Absolutely.
And walkability in general. I see like, you know, some things on here. So like multimodal. So maybe you could just like talk about what that, what some of the goals for that might be.
Sure. So we have lots of different people choosing to travel Morgantown's transportation network, right? Many people think about driving around in cars as like that's the way that you travel and that's the primary modes of transportation. But that's not necessarily the case, right? 17% of all trips in Morgantown are taken on foot, which is wild. It's an incredibly high percentage, one of the highest in the nation, right? Cycling and of course bus trips and then carpooling and other things like this, right? Could also be considered multimodal. The entire impetus behind this grant, really, and going for this particular program, is the provision of formal separated facilities to accommodate the less motorized traffic, right, or the light individual transport. You're walking, you're skateboarding, you're riding a bike or something like this. To provide that in this corridor is extremely difficult without a lot of retaining walls. Shifting the roadway, we've only got about a 30-foot wide corridor through there, or right-of-way, which is just wild. The neighboring small streets are 40 to 50 feet wide of right-of-way. So we technically have enough space to do 10 feet of a separated facility, right, for bikes, peds, 10 feet for one travel lane, and 10 feet for another travel lane. That would be the presumed cross-section through here. But we have to use every single inch of our right-of-way in a very specific way. And with the houses and the cemetery and all of the utilities that are right within that right-of-way and right on the edge of the current built road, essentially, you know, our goals would be to just reclaim everything that we possibly can to provide that separated, which we think is needed, facility for bike ped, essentially, through this corridor.
Gotcha. Thanks so much for working on this. This is great. Thank you.
Thank you. Very proud to present this to you. Yeah. And proud of my colleagues for supporting this.
Yeah, very dangerous area, lots of requests, lots of frustration at not being able to do enough.
Yeah.
And so if this is the solution, there will be many, many happy road users of all types.
Absolutely.
Move to approve the raise grant application?
Yes. Thank you. There aren't any other comments or questions? Or?
Nope.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you so much,
I
Drew.
said, thank you, Drew.
Yeah, thank you, Drew. That's a good answer.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Christina, if you call the roll.
Yes. Deputy Mayor Buganim?
Yes.
Bill Koecki?
Yes.
Weezy Michael,
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull,
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger,
Yes.
Brian Butcher,
Yes.
Mayor Celine.
Yes, passes unanimously. Thank you again, Drew. City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of quick issues. Just wanted to thank those of you that were able to make it down to the Municipal League Conference last week. I certainly benefited from just networking, if nothing else, with other city managers, mayors. I ran into had a long discussion with a number of old mayors that I've known for a long time, and and you learn a lot by networking and seeing what other folks are doing. It doesn't matter how large or how small the municipality is. We often face identical issues. Just sometimes they're more magnified. So it's always helpful for that. And I think that Morgantown has always had a really strong council component there. I can remember even before I came to Morgantown, I was often impressed with the engagement of City Council in those events, and I think it makes a difference. So thank you so much. Just wanted to also just remind you that some of you have scheduled to participate in a budget work session. We started doing this last year in terms of, I think it allowed for what we felt was, and the feedback we got from council was that it allows for just more one-on-one dialogue, back and forth. If we make the groups a little smaller and we can just sit and take the time we need to answer questions that you might have. So if you have time and feel inclined, we'd love to visit with you over the proposed budget. You should have each received at least an electronic copy of the executive budget document. It was not an easy budget. We had to adjust a lot of requests by departments because of our projected revenues for the coming year, and so it was a challenging budget, but I think it accomplishes the intent of what we as a city want to do, and that is continuing providing excellent services, and still have some dollars left over to be able to provide some support, whether it's seed money or other kinds of dollars, to help encourage community projects and activities. Along that line, the last thing I'd say is that there are a number of projects and activities that are in the works that may require city participation in. My intent is what the process is. We're trying to create a foundational set of data that will help support recommendations that are made, and council will be presented with some grappling with whether we want to do certain projects or not. And what we're hoping to do is, if you do, have some answers as to whether it's doable or feasible or not, rather than saying, well, you want to do that, well, let us study it now and go back. We're hoping to kind of do it a little bit different and come with some options and alternatives as to how we might accomplish it if council chooses that these are high priority items. So be aware that there's some projects and exciting things going on that I think will be really beneficial to the community and help continue this sense of movement and things are happening and good things are happening. And I think as that continues to occur over and sustained over a period of time, the whole community is going to get behind these things, and we'll start getting some groundswell of other ideas that we haven't even thought of. So I can tell you just from my perspective, I'm excited about the future and what's going on. That's all I have. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
All right. Pardon. All right. Report from the City Clerk.
Yes, Mayor, I just would like to remind folks that the Police Civil Service Commission will be holding entry-level police officer exams on March 16th, and that will be at 9 a.m. at the Public Safety Building. And if folks would like to apply, or they can go to morgantownpd.com, or they can go to our website at morgantownwv.gov and find information about that exam. You can apply online as well. But if folks have questions, they can certainly call the City Clerk's office, and we'll be glad to walk them through that application process and answer any questions they may have. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Report from City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. After Council's passage of the ordinance designating the Norwood Fire Station a safe surrender site this evening, we'll work with Fire Chief on adopting the regulations that are mentioned in the ordinance and trying to make sure they have a good set of clear rules for operating that facility. And I know the provider of the equipment is also doing training as well, as Emily mentioned. I'll also be working with city staff on their kind of last stages of a long-term project that they've put a lot of time into to implement an electronic permitting system that hopefully will do some good records management tasks, save staff a lot of time. So just starting to work with them on some final review of language that's going into that system, and I think they're getting that up and running in the next couple months. And that is all I have to report this evening.
Great. Reports from City Council. Weezy, would you like to start?
I'm good, Jenny. I don't have anything today, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you very much for participating electronically. I know it's hard.
Yeah, it's a little difficult.
Yeah.
But it's good. I heard everything.
Okay. Well, appreciate you taking the time to do this.
No problem.
Counselor Butcher, do you want to start?
Sure. I don't have anything to
Start
report, so.
That's easy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have two updates, Mayor. One, we have the MRTC has put up the total of 6 totem poles that are wayfinding directional signages around the amphitheater towards the Marriott and up towards 6th and 8th Street. So those are on the rail trail now. And the lights, we're just waiting for the lights to come in, and those will be put up under the bridge there, Don Knotts, right at the terminus of Deckers Creek, or start at Deckers Creek Rail Trail. So that should be complete here soon and in time for good weather. So that's exciting to see that come to completion. And then just an update on Morgantown Utility Board and Westover. And as you recall, the Westover would like MUB to take over the sewage treatment for Westover. And there were some upgrades that needed to take place prior to moving that forward. And so in the March meeting for the Morgantown Utility Board, representatives from the city of Westover will provide an update on where they stand with that process. And so we'll know more at that point in time. So just wanted to share that.
Great. Counselor Trimble?
I've been in and out of town. I've been traveling back and forth to Charleston over the last 2 weeks. Watching what's going on down there. Some things good for us, like POTA changes. Some things not so great for us. But I've been in close contact with the city attorney several times, and he's provided guidance, and I appreciate that as we're down there trying to stick up for Morgantown and our rights. So, yeah, and as Drew and Jenny, I spend my off time with delegates as well, trying to make sure that they're on our side. So, just to remind everyone that the Citizens Leadership Academy application is currently open. I think that closes on the 23rd, and that new session will start in March. It's a great program, and last I heard, we had a dozen and a half applications, which hopefully has gone up by now. But if you haven't applied yet, definitely get your applications in. Do you want me to address public comment?
If you would like to.
That is
completely up to you.
It's a good thing that when people are speaking, the camera tends to be on them and not necessarily on me, because I get very upset when, as chair of Bow Park, I get very upset, like last week, when someone comes to our meeting and accuses the board of intentional malfeasance, and I get upset here when someone comes and accuses the Planning Commission of bias. And I won't, he used that term many times, and it was insinuated that, something else is at play here other than safety. I don't appreciate, these are volunteer boards and commissions. These are citizens who are working to make the community better, who get off of their butt and get out there and get involved, right? So I don't like it when they are generally attacked for doing their job. And at the last Planning Commission meeting, the same gentleman that we're here tonight not insinuated, flat out said that the Planning Commission had no business making decisions on these kinds of things, that if staff was willing to okay something, that the Planning Commission should just go along with it. If that were the case, we wouldn't have a Planning Commission. These are people who live in the neighborhoods, who know this town, who know this city, who know the residents, who are charged with making recommendations to us on these different things. And we can talk about how we're moving the goalpost and it's not actually about safety. The Planning Commission takes very seriously its duty, and I will stick up for them at every turn. When someone comes and says that, it's not really about safety. We had parts of city code to us read multiple times during the last 2 meetings because we wanted to know what exactly is our duty here. And we made it very clear. I'm sure some people on the Planning Commission are in favor of charter schools. I'm sure some people on the Planning Commission are against charter schools. We are not here to judge the merit of the use. We are here to judge the impact on the surrounding neighborhood. And they can say that the goalpost is moving, but every time we get more information, it changes. Tonight I wrote down, he said, well, we're going to have maybe a max of 248 students. At the first Planning Commission meeting, they said 100 students. Now we're talking 248. And with 100 students, it was going to be 60 to 80 cars during a half an hour pickup or drop off period. At the last Planning Commission meeting, we had received a letter that said, well, we can't sign the 20-year lease for a shared parking lot that the city requests in city code because we plan to grow and we might outgrow this building. So at that point we said, well, if you're going to grow, how many students are you intending? That is why things have moved and gone the way that they have. And I don't appreciate someone showing up and just accusing us of whatever bias they want to accuse us of. We are focused on the task at hand, which is evaluating the impact on the surrounding neighborhood. I, as a member of the Planning Commission, have never been asked to evaluate the impact that Morgantown High School has on the surrounding neighborhood. It's been in place a long time. I'm tasked with the current site plan that has been submitted and how it will impact the neighborhood. So, no, and the Planning Commission is not generally where we receive a safety complaint, right? Maybe that would be the Traffic Commission, maybe that would be any other commission. At the end of the day, Morgantown High School has many different methods of ingress and egress, and this facility has one, and they are significantly changing the use, and we have asked for them to work with us on making sure that DOT specifically said you cannot queue 80 cars on High Street. So where are those cars going to queue? These are things that we are asking them to explain, and they have yet to come to us with an adequate plan. So to say that we're just being biased against them, I don't know if they're accusing of, some sort of racism or some sort of bias against a charter school or what exactly that insinuation is, but it is false. And I don't appreciate someone coming to a city council meeting trying to bypass. We have heard this at Planning Commission the last 2 meetings, and we were actually prepared to just flat out deny this at the last meeting after discussion and decided to give them yet another opportunity. This same thing is being heard at the Board of Zoning Appeals tomorrow evening. So coming to City Council and trying to bypass the process is not the correct way to go about this. And I'm sure now it is going to sound like I'm biased against this group, but it has been nothing but difficulty and pushback with everything that we have asked. So I am struggling here with insinuation that there is malfeasance on any part of any member of the Planning Commission. They are very focused on the job at hand and what that task requires of them. So I'm not happy with public comment this evening. And I'm sure if they happened to show me during that comment, I'm sure I'm very animated in my expression because I think that it is ridiculous. Thank you. Counselor Quick. No pressure, Bill.
So you want me to follow that?
You have to follow that.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I appreciate that. I understand the passion. I understand the passion in both instances. Someone's looking to make their point and looking for their forum so that they can get any leverage that they can muster. I guess that's why we're here, to listen and try to do the best we can. And I think we do. And I agree with you, what you're saying about our boards and commissions. I'm very much an advocate for them, and I appreciate what they do. But other than that, it was good to see the representation down at the Municipal League. It was good to have the conversation. Mine was a little more limited than I would have done in the past, but it was good to see all the other familiar faces and hear the complaints and know that we're all facing very similar circumstances. And it's nice to have a group of legislators down there that, at least from our districts, that seem to have some reasonable understanding of what city government's about and what the municipal government needs are, and are willing to speak up for them, even though their voices are not the strongest. In any case, it was good to see about the people that were here tonight. They have the Chinese community again participate and welcome us with their new year, as they've done in the past. It gives a good feeling about community and what this Morgantown is and what they do have to offer. And with that, I will just wish you a Happy New Year. So,
okay, so now I have to follow those. All right. What?
Do your best.
I will do my best. First, let me say that it was wonderful to be a part of the showcasing of all the wonderful artwork we were sent from our sister city at the W. Palmer Gallery. And I keep looking over here because I finally figured out where the camera is. So I'm trying to talk to anyone watching at home. At Wiles Hill this past week. And I'm looking forward to celebrating the Lunar New Year this upcoming Sunday. It'll be my first time attending such an event, as I understand you've been there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have to get some pointers from you. And I'm also looking forward to the NLC meeting. I just lowered my chair mid-conversation. Hold on. There we go. It's a problem with being short. I would be behind here. and I'm working on my camera.
I'm watching what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Good.
Thank you. All right.
So far.
And then, yes. And then next Monday, we have our tree board meeting at 4:30, which I'm looking forward to. And those that are looking for our first ward neighborhood meeting, which used to be on the last Monday of every month, please be reminded it is now every 3 months. So the next one will be on 3/25 at 6 p.m. at MTech. And I would also like to add that I think our commissions all do a wonderful job, and I really appreciate the work that goes into it in terms of volunteering. As we've seen, it's really hard to get people to volunteer for these boards, and I think it's sometimes the tough conversations and the false accusations that can lead to those things. So I appreciate everybody that continues to help out on our boards and commissions, and that is my report.
Good job. Way
Thank
to
you.
address the audience at home.
Yeah.
So, I also attended the municipal league meetings and worked on the premise that local governance is useful, part of what we were talking about this evening, and that we are the problem solvers that are closest to the constituents, and we are doing our darndest to include the public in our decision-making and work well with our staff and our citizens. And I think sometimes that goes unnoticed in the polarization and frustration with politics. And I think sometimes we need to remember that all of us need to remember that when we work together and we actually solve problems and come up with solutions that work in our area, we work together best. And even though we may not agree with the public comment that comes our way, it's nice to be in a system where someone can come and make an accusation, however frustrating that may be, and that we can all keep working through that third time and see if we can come up with some actual functioning results, and appreciate everyone's time that they spend, whether it be at the municipal league meetings or looking at the wonderful art exhibit that still is showing at the Wells Hill Community Center.
Until February 29th.
Until February 29th. Until February 29th. And just noticing how we can all have contact with our constituents on a day-to-day basis and keep working together as best we can, even when it gets complicated. And I wanted to make mention that it was nice at the municipal league meetings that we got to sit fairly often with a group from Granville and also one particular representative from Westover, as well as obviously all of the other colleagues that we were with. But it's kind of nice to keep connections going with the people that happen to be right in our area as well. And I look forward to when it's time to make an agenda item out of the great race. You should let us know.
We're almost there. We're not there
Yeah,
yet.
whenever you're
we
there.
We did have a meeting about it today.
Yeah.
We're not quite there yet.
Okay, well, when you're there, make sure we know about that, and with everybody else, as you come up with agenda items that people need to know about, please keep funneling them in. And I think that's about it from me. So is there anyone interested in adjournment?
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Excellent.
But you gotta look up there.
We're adjourning this meeting.
All right.